Greetings, Ian here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I thought I would talk to you about in my opinion, very special release, which seems to be flying under a lot of people's radar. This is a new release from SUPERTRAMP and Mercury Records, Universal Records, a live Blu-ray with restored and newly mixed audio of their Crime of the Century tour. And this is taken from a gig in 1975. Recorded at the Hammersmith Odeon. You know, usually when you find out that there's footage of a band in their classic lineup that for whatever reason hasn't come out before, you know, usually I raise my eyebrow. I think, well, why is that? Now, I'm happy to report that after watching this Blu-ray and listening to the Dolby Atmos mix, which has been lovingly created by the original engineer and producer of the band, Ken Scott, I see absolutely no reason for this to have been kept in the vaults for so long. However, I'm really glad it's out, and I will not claim to be an expert on SUPERTRAMP. I've only really heard this album, Crime of the Century, and the slightly later one, Breakfast in America. So forgive me if I don't give this my usual in-depth look. However, as somebody who's just coming to this as a huge fan of the Crime of the Century album, like, I think it's one of the best kind of art rock, quirky, progressive pop albums of the era. I just think this is an absolutely sensational document. The video quality is excellent. I was watching it on a 4K player upscaled to 4K. And, you know, you could have told me this was a UHD. The colors were very rich. You know, the color black looked really deep. But I could see plenty of detail in the performers' faces and their facial expressions and interactions. Now, I did mention this is the classic lineup, and for those of you who don't know, that's Rick Davis on vocals and keyboards, Roger Hodgson, vocals, guitars, and keyboards, John Halliwell, woodwind instruments, keyboards, and vocals, and he's also kind of the master of ceremonies. He's the one kind of fronting the band and talking to the audience. Bass, Dougie Thompson, and drums and percussion, Bob C. Benberg. I feel like the saxophone is definitely what gives this band their kind of artiness. And I think John Halliwell is really the band's secret weapon, bringing in all of these kind of auxiliary instruments to kind of give them a jazzy feel. This is definitely a warts and all performance. I wouldn't call it perfect. It's somewhat deficient, in my opinion, in the vocal department. And I know that not everyone is necessarily a fan of Roger Hodgson's voice. I rather like it. Yeah, he does kind of remind me of Pinky from Pinky and the Brain at times, but I always liked Pinky and the Brain, so I don't mind that. And one of my favorite things about this band is the contrasts of light and dark. Here you have Roger Hodgson, who's kind of the higher voice, and Rick Davis, who's more of a bluesy, grounded voice. Now, sometimes the backing vocals don't hit quite in tune, like the album did. Sometimes the band isn't quite as tight as the album, but what do you expect from a 50-year-old live performance? Like, this is very much warts and all. I don't get the sense that Ken Scott messed with it in any way. Like, you know, I hear out-of-tune notes at times. I hear parts where people miss cues, but overall, I think the performance is excellent, and it's very convincing. And the sound is clear, especially the drums. The drums sound absolutely amazing, and I think it's because it was captured well to begin with by Ken Scott. Now, we can talk about his Atmos mix a little bit. This isn't a super immersive Steven Wilson style Atmos mix. The band is positioned as they are laid out on stage. You know, you'll have Roger's voice kind of leaning more to the right, Rick's voice more on the left. But then when Roger might go over to the keyboard and play something his voice is now coming over from the left side. You have the bass in the center, which grounds things, and the drums are just kind of spread out. And, you know, I didn't hear an immense amount of stuff coming out of the heights, but at the same time, I did get the feeling like I was there, like the band was kind of wrapped around me, and I could hear some reverberation in the back. But the thing is that the sound quality is so good on this that I really didn't mind that the Atmos presentation wasn't what I would call a demo disc for Atmos. I think it just sounded so good that I didn't really care that much. We can talk about the set list just briefly. They play the entirety of the Crime of the Century album down, front to back. However, in the middle, we get a few songs that would later appear on the band's follow-up album, Crisis, What Crisis. Now, I've actually never heard that album, so I couldn't tell you if these are great performances, if they're different from the album versions in any way, but what I can tell you is that I very much enjoyed these songs, and it made me want to go out and hear the Crisis, What Crisis album. So I might end up picking that up at some point. I liked this material enough. So we've got Sister Moonshine, Just a Normal Day, Another Man's Woman, and Lady. And I thought that those songs were as strong as the Crime of the Century material proper. So in short, do I recommend this Blu-ray? Absolutely. Particularly if you like this style of kind of quirky art rock. I strongly recommend this, especially if you love this band, especially if you love this album, Crime of the Century. I think that it's a great release, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on it. So go check this out. I will leave a link to purchase this in the description. I got it from Laser CD in the United States, but I believe you can also get it from like Burning Shed, and there's a few other like import CDs, and there's a few other vendors who carry it. But in the meantime, be sure to leave me a comment below. Did you enjoy this? Also, would you recommend that I get the Live in Paris 1979 Blu-ray? That's one that's been on my list forever. I've actually heard the Live in Paris album, so I think I would really enjoy that. And after seeing this, I'm kind of eager to pick that one up. So let me know in the comments below if you think I should check that out. Also, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I cover a lot of progressive rock bands, but I also cover a lot of multi-channel stuff. So if you'd like to keep updated on the latest 5.1 Dolby Atmos releases, quad, so on, you can do so by subscribing to the channel. But until then, it's been a lot of fun talking with you, and you're going to hear from me real soon. All right, take care, everyone, and go listen to some Supertramp. I think you're going to enjoy it.